I've said it before and I'll say it again. Donald Trump is not a capitalist. Donald Trump believes in central economic planning, and as we've learned from Hayek, central economic planning is nothing more than socialism. We saw it with Trump attacking prescription drug costs with his Trump RX. Trump called for caps on credit card interest rates. We've seen Trump intervene and buy 9% of Intel. We've seen Trump promote central economic planning through Federal Reserve interest rates in order to try to, he wants them to cut the rates so that that'll stimulate the economy. And now here we go again. Trump is attacking gas retailers, telling them that their gasoline prices are too high because the price of oil's come down since he started this war in Iran. How about that, Trump? How about you just take some responsibility for the fact that maybe your unconstitutional war with Iran caused gas prices to go up? And, here's what he said on Truth Social. He says, gasoline retailers must get their prices down immediately. They're too high considering that oil is now at $68 a barrel and heading south. There will be no gouging, which is totally illegal. If retailers don't do this, big problems lie ahead. Start targeting around the $2.50 a gallon number. Why $2.50 a gallon? Why not $1.50 a gallon? Why not 50 cents a gallon? Guess what? Because no one knows what that number should be. That's why markets determine prices. The price mechanism is one of the most important things within the free market because that allows, retailers and customers to determine where prices should be. And all of this becomes distorted when you have the government intervening into the markets as far as things like releasing the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, something that Trump did, starting wars and disrupting the supply chains. All of this plays into the cost of gasoline and what you're paying at the pump. Now, see, if Kamala Harris or if Joe Biden or any of them were saying these things, you would have the right talking about how, oh, this is socialism, calling for price controls. You'd have Sean Hannity on there telling all the people about how the people on the left don't understand the complexities of the oil markets. And they just don't understand that, well, these tankers that have been held up in the Strait of Hormuz for months, now they have to go in for service and maintenance. So now they're not able to move around as much oil as they could. And all the other things that you would do to basically point out why prices are what they are, but instead you got Trump out calling for price controls. So he's a socialist. And another thing, Trump is talking about price gouging. Price gouging is a myth. There's no such thing as price gouging. Now, like I said, the price is going to be set by the market. So you'll hear this a lot after, like, say, a catastrophe, like, let's say a hurricane hits an area and there's a gasoline shortage and trucks aren't able to get in there and bring in the supplies at the gas stations. Well, guess what? If there's a fuel shortage, that's going to make the price go up. That would be the indicator to the market, like, hey, there's a shortage of this. That means the price needs to go up. And so then people would have an incentive to bring more fuel into that area. But no, anytime that happens, the government wants to step in and implement price controls and say, oh, no price gouging, no price gouging. Because that's a popular, that's a popular idea. People, when they think about that, they're like, oh, well, that's horrible, that people would raise the price of something when these people are having an emergency. But that's just the way it is. It's not horrible. What's horrible is when the government intervenes and then that shortage is prolonged because if I'm a supplier of gasoline to a company, I don't want to take that risk of sending my trucks and my people in there if I don't have what's my incentive to send the people in there if I don't get that extra reward of potentially making a higher profit? There's nothing wrong with making profits. That's just the way the market works. So I just want to point this out because it's important to call out the socialism on the right. Because if you don't, it makes you a hypocrite and it makes it a lot harder to push back against the socialism on the left. And the people on the right, they see it when it's AOC and Bernie Sanders and Mom Dami, and they attack those people for their socialist policies. But anytime Trump does it, nobody says anything. When Bush was pushing Medicare Part D, nobody said anything. When Bush was doing I think it was called the DREAM Act. It was like the American, it was something to do with providing basically subsidies for Americans to be able to get, their first down payment on a home. A lot of people on the right fail to see their own socialist policies, or even the military. Let's look at the war in Iran. Let's look at the money that we give to other countries so they can turn around and use that money to buy, planes and weapons and ammunition from our defense manufacturers. That's socialism. It's a different type of socialism, but it is socialism. So we got to start calling these people out for what it is. Don't follow Donald Trump off I'm telling you, Donald Trump is misleading all the people on the right and all the people with the Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah, I'm talking about you, the conservatives that continue to support Donald Trump, and you fail to notice, all of his big government policies. He's misleading you, and it's taking our country to a bad place. So call out socialism where you see it and don't promote it. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and comment.